While at a museum in Rome, I was captured by a pretty inconspicuous piece, The Boy with the Thorn. I'll admit that I'm not the most sensitive to art. That same day, I had seen a few Berninis and Caravaggios with little emotional resonance. But something about this piece, the vulnerability of the form, the intense curiosity the boy holds over his own pain, the restrained, almost analytical face, even the slight folds on the torso, all of it together collected into a singular tear on my cheek. Less recently, I was called morally feeble. While painful, it was not entirely untrue. I often fail to act in an empathetic manner. I can be selfish. I don't always hold space for those close to me. Instead, I'll launch platitudes and research papers, a deluge of deluges, to explain suffering in largely analytical terms. I'd read all of Hegel if it meant someone would stop crying in front of me. As some have posited, philosophy may only exist as a way to avoid simply feeling, to instead overintellectualize and problematize the intangible aspects of humanity that can only ever be truly countered with a whimper and a hug. Perhaps ironically, I have philosophized and entered into my studies largely through this encounter with pain. When I looked at this sculpture, I immediately recognized the curiosity displayed across the young boy's face. I placed myself within the marble. He was in pain, hurt by an external force puncturing his flesh. The world has imposed itself on his being, a violent imprint of existence. And yet he appears unalarmed, and if anything, passively reflective. He is ever so aware of his being, frozen in time and cast in marble, a moment of eternal suffering. Pain tends to have such an effect. Byung-Chul Han has described the modern world as a palliative society where pain is endlessly avoided in favor of a serene and sanitized bliss. And yet, pain is what calls our attention to our very being. Pain is an undeniable truth, signaling a rupture, an invasion, the certainty of change. Nietzsche writes, "Only great pain is, as the teacher of great suspicion, the ultimate liberator of the spirit." I doubt whether such pain improves us, but I do know it deepens us. When did I first encounter philosophy? Through this pain, the dread of an existential crisis, social rejection, feeling uneasy in myself. These were all thorns in my foot, piercing the skin, calling to attention that something is awry. And it was when I saw the pain in others, tearful caregivers, lost friends, grieving widows, I expanded my focus. And here arrives the Buddhist insight that we are all suffering together, bound to some collective hurt. But most brutally, my curiosity came when I saw myself as the thorn, the arbiter of pain, ignorant to myself as both the hurt and the hurtful. A stupid comment, stepping on one's toes. In those moments, I felt myself cast as a sculpture, a nakedly evaluated victimizer, entirely conscious of my own identity as the transgressor. To cause pain through my own lumbering miscalculation and selfish thrashing about. To be both the thorn and the boy, this is the essence of being human. But the aspect of the sculpture that resonates most is what it does not express. Why is the boy so stoic? At a young age, I think my curiosity emerged as a secondary reaction to that initial feeling of pain. In media, men are not meant to express their anguish. They are not meant to whine and complain. And so it is better to turn one's foot over and ponder and investigate and examine while the waves of sadness rise and fall. This is the honorable path, as we are told. But I think deep down, it emerges from the fear of being human. I wonder if this is why I've rarely been moved by the arts. Unless a movie or piece happens to solipsistically and myopically confirm my own narratives, I often move on. This is Hartmut Rosa's distinction between resonance and sentimentality. I'm usually drawn to the sentimental. those pieces that make you feel but don't make you grow. They confirm my own schemas and narratives. Rarely do I loosen up to feel altered, to encounter a piece as is with no preconceptions, and to permit that violent encounter with the intangibles. Yes, I might feel things, but does any of it truly resonate? Perhaps this explains the moral feebleness. Perhaps my moral character is largely underdeveloped out of discomfort and fear. Perhaps I should read more poetry. Recently, I participated in a panel discussion. One of the panelists, the cultural tutor, made me reflect on my own engagement with the humanities. Him name-dropping Ruskin and neoclassical architecture was profoundly refreshing and inspiring. And this sculpture, too, made me reconsider my knowledge of the classics. So much beauty forged through pain and struggle. Sometimes we don't need to get to the bottom of it all. And what I've learned through academia is that the bottom always has a basement. Art holds us there uncomfortably and compels us to linger without any clear answers. Why am I hurt? Why was the thorn placed there? Perhaps these are questions we could answer later, with 30 tabs open and a double shot espresso. But for now, let me simply be, unforgivably, a boy with the thorn.